so nice to see you all.
So nice to see you.
Yes, it's
How
good
is
to
everybody?
be back together again.
I know.
Right,
I
after
know.
a lovely summer.
Yeah. We certainly can't complain. We've had our fair share of lovely days, and now we've had some recent amount of rain, but it's greening up the grass because it was a bit fried.
Yes. Yeah.
And the kids are back at school, and life is kind of coming back a bit more to our normal of things. It's been awesome. Fall is going to be exciting to see where we all end up and what we all end up doing. And we're excited to have Jen here today. It's going to be absolutely an awesome show.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here, and I love fall because of the fall routine. Even though we're not back in school, don't you guys feel like you walk by the school aisle and you get all excited for fresh notebooks
and you just buy supplies?
I know. I keep buying highlighters, and I must have 45 highlighters, but I love that fresh pack all the time.
I feel like
were you like that all the way?
Sorry, go ahead.
Were you always excited that way? Like, I remember the opposite. Like, I remember being like, I'd see the highlighters and start to get, but were you just always like excited about school? And it was, oh, that's good.
Yeah, fresh school supplies are wonderful. I don't know. It just brings back good memories, I guess. But yeah, if you were here in my office right now, you'd see all the stuff that I have, but it just keeps piling up. It's okay. It's good.
So funny.
So we've got people definitely starting to come in, which is very exciting. We're going to have quite a few people from across Canada and probably even North America. Hi. I was wondering if you can chime in with the chat function and let us know where you're watching from today. We'd love to see what province, what town, where you're watching. And of course, these shows are recorded. So if you have other colleagues that have missed it, or you want to share the link, it will be up on our RDHU page under the RDHU tab, and you can always share it and watch it later. So that's going to be always an exciting resource for you.
Alberta.
Saskatchewan.
I'm in Quebec.
Poor Perry.
Road drive.
I'm in Niagara Falls today. Woohoo.
Well, we're
Tiny
all
township.
Yes, that's great. Oh, look at that.
Nice.
Burlington.
Dorothy, my friend.
Hi. Yeah. Kingston. Very good. We've got
see some
Amy.
couple friends,
Hi.
Julie Gaffney
Hi, Julie.
and Roma. I know those guys. That's great.
Nice.
Oh, that's
very
so
good.
great to see so many people.
And Kathleen, you are, what's going on there? You are in a bit of a different background.
Yes, I'm in a Boston Pizza.
In the province of
Quebec.
There you
Because
go.
I'm on a road trip right now. I was in Nova Scotia, so we've been away for 9 days, 5 days in the car, but it's been lovely. We went to Halifax to bring Jillian to Dalhousie, and then we drove up to Cape Breton, which is absolutely gorgeous. We went and did the Cabot Trail, and now heading back. So we were in the car for 5 hours today. So I'm happy I'm here. I'll probably mute myself because I don't know how it's going to be here, but I didn't want to miss because Jen's one of my dearest friends, and I wanted to be here to see everybody and to participate as much as I can.
Thanks,
It's good to see everybody.
Of course. Yeah, well, it's such a team player. Even when you're traveling, you're here, Kath. That's wonderful. Well, we're just about at that time. So I think what I'll do is I'm just going to do some very, very quick housekeeping like we always do. And then I have the privilege of introducing our guest. So I'm going to just be speaking for about 3 minutes, and then I'm going to hand over the microphone and we'll get into our program. So for everyone who's here, thank you for joining us. We're really, really excited to kick off the fall season and kind of get back to our monthly RDH View meetings. If you are here with us live right now and you have a question, we do love to hear from you. So please feel free to enter your question into the Q&A function on the bottom of your screen. There's a lot of us here. So if we don't get to your question, what we're going to do is give you an opportunity to reach out to us or to Jen with any questions that you might have. You don't have the ability to speak to us with your voice, but you can use the chat function if you want to say hi or just make a comment. And then again, the Q&A for questions. And this will be recorded. So for anyone who gets pulled away at any point, don't worry, we will have this uploaded within a couple of days. So without further ado, as I mentioned, I have the honor and privilege of introducing our guest, Jennifer Turner. Honestly, she probably doesn't even need an introduction, but because I get this opportunity, I would really like to give her the introduction she deserves. So Jennifer Turner has built her reputation in the dental hygiene world as a natural leader by her sheer professionalism and leadership. Jennifer is the Vice President of Dental Hygiene Operations at 123 Dentist. Jennifer is a past President and Chief Governance Officer with the College of Dental Hygienists of Ontario, Director of Dental Hygiene Practice with the Canadian Dental Hygienists Association, and she is an award-winning dental hygiene professor. She has worked with numerous dental practices across Canada, supporting the teams with change management, implementation of clinical systems to enhance and elevate optimal patient care. Jennifer is honored to have been elected by her peers for the board member from Ontario position with the Canadian Dental Hygienists Association, set to begin in mid-October. Jennifer has been described as inspirational, knowledgeable, a dynamic speaker, and she has a true passion for the dental profession. Jen, it's an absolute honor to have you here with us today. I think the number of us here whose lives you've touched or careers that you've enriched would honestly be too high to count. So on behalf of all of us here and the cast of RDH View, I sincerely thank you for being here with us today. Jennifer Turner.
Thank you so much. Thanks. I really appreciate the warm introduction and the opportunity to be a part of the RDH View. It's so amazing for dental hygienists across the country to learn from you ladies as industry leaders, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't even know, it's hard to know where to start because I just feel like you have so many experiences and you've just done so many wonderful things. So I think, why don't I start with this question and then let's see where it goes.
Sure.
So essentially, how would you say that you started your professional journey outside of your clinical practice?
Great question. Thank you. So ever since I was young, I always knew, just following a traumatic car accident, that I was here for a reason. And I knew there was something out there for me, but I didn't quite know what. So I've been really fortunate to have great friends and mentors. Kathleen and Joanne Jones have believed in me. So it was a really fun conversation. And they said, you know what, Jen, why don't you try speaking? And these guys believed in me long before I believed in myself. So who doesn't want to co-speak with Joanne Jones? Okay, first of all. And so that day we were speaking at RDHU. I had my first opportunity to speak. Joanne said, Jen, why don't you come and pick me up? Perfect. So before I got to Joanne Jones' home, I was really nervous, and I'm a human being and I get scared and nervous. And, you know, when we're scared to jump, that's exactly when we need to make that change. So right before Joanne Jones' house on the right-hand side, I pulled over my car and I started panicking a little. Why are people coming to RDHU to part pay to see me? I know why they're paying for Joanne Jones, but part to see me. And I got nervous and I threw up in the Shoppers Drug Mart parking lot because I was so scared. And right behind me was Kathleen and Joanne edging me on. They believed in me, and then opportunities just came from there. But I can't say enough how to believe in yourself and don't stay stuck in a rut. Even though we're scared, all of us can do different things and, you know, make our path go in different ways. And then ironically, I ran into an old dental hygiene professor in the grocery store, and I didn't know I was going to see her. And I had radiated my friend by accident in the x-ray room next door when we were in school, and this teacher reprimanded me. So I was a little scared, but she asked me, you know, Jennifer, what are you doing these days? And she offered me an interview to come for a part-time clinical teaching position at Niagara College. And even though I was scared, I went for it. So take those opportunities and, you know, believe in yourself. It's okay to be scared, but go for it. because that's what I did, and amazing things happened.
All
Wow,
about getting
Oh,
out of
that's
your
so
comfort zone.
good.
yeah, you have just taken so many big steps, and along the way, you know, empowered the rest of us as we watch you. I mean, it's like you're the, you know, the hygiene commercial for the Lotto Max guy who goes, dream big, you know, so like, how is it that you ended up being president of CDHO and then you're moving to CDHA? Like, tell us more about that, and then how you end up then at a DSO. So what like a dream big. You just are totally the dream big gal.
Thank you. This could be a good, bad thing because I don't know if you guys know, but I am an overachiever. It happens to all of us, right? So I think sometimes when you watch an organization or you see something and you hope that you're able to add value to it. My passion is dental hygiene. It's in my blood. I didn't know I wanted to do this when I was young. It kind of found me. But CDHO was an amazing experience because I came on council. I was there for 5 years. I wanted to take a leadership position, but you have to go through an election once you're inside council. So there's professional members, public members. And so I remember for days ahead of the election for president, there was amazing people. And I would do my election speech in my car. So I'd drive by saying, you know, people would look at me, I'm doing the speech. And I went for it. And I did the night before I wanted to withdraw going for president because I was so scared, right? And there's great people. So I don't know, you just set a goal and go for it. And you have to be willing to know that you might not achieve that goal, but that's okay. So I often say to myself, if we don't try, we would never know. So I live my life on that motto and try and, you know, go for things. So CDHO was a great experience. I know that many people get frustrated with CDHO, College of Dental Hygienists of Ontario. And I remind dental hygienists every week that their role is public protection. It's safety of the public, and they regulate the profession. And so then after doing that for 5 years, I was super excited to move into the association role where you're working with dental hygienists. So trying to see, instead of, you know, disciplining, hearings, different things, move to the member side. So it's great to see what our membership for, you know, what they do and how it works behind the scenes. I'd never lobbied on behalf of dental hygienists, but sure enough, I got to go to Parliament Hill and see what it's all about. So again, it was a dream. It was scary, but you know, you go for it and you have to just prepare yourself. Might not work out, but look at the glass half full and it might, right?
It's a different kind of pressure, right? Wouldn't you say? Like it's pressure and your stomach's rolling, but it's the positive growth type.
It is. And it's scary, you guys. Like it sure is. People think, oh, you know, you did this and that, but like, yeah, like it's pushing yourself to places that you didn't think you could or should. And then just believing that, you know what, I tried and whatever happens, happens, but at least you know, right? And all the time I hear from dental hygienists that they feel like they want to stay in their practice or they want to move on, but they don't believe in themselves on the skills that they have. And it really upsets me when I hear, I'm just a dental hygienist. And I'm like, stop, because you're so much more than just a dental hygienist, right? So believing, going for it, searching out for new things is a wonderful thing. And so that led me along the path to DSOs, or, you know, dental service organizations, dental support organizations. And many people were surprised when I moved into this arena because corporate dentistry has a bad rap. It's so big in the United States, and I have many leader friends there, but it's not all bad. It's a wonderful thing, and it is the way of our future. And I'm sorry for those that are mad at that, but it really is. It allows the dentists to focus on doing dentistry. We all know we have many great dentist friends, but they didn't take business in school. They learned clinical skills. So this is where a DSO, there's different DSOs out there, different varieties of what they believe in and what motivates them. I'm thrilled to be at 123 Dentist because it's healthcare first, followed by a business. And that matches my philosophy. And it's all about our teams, right? When we're all happy doing what we're doing, the patient wins. And so there's wonderful opportunities in the dental service organization for anyone who's watching.
And I think DSOs have changed dramatically from back when they sort of started. And I can't even think of when I can remember the first DSO came in, but they really have changed. And now they're bringing hygiene to the forefront, like your position, your job. You really are there for, you know, us, the dental professionals, dental hygienists, and helping us have a voice in such a big organization. So really there are some positive changes. And I think if you're sitting somewhere in a rut, which people always are caught in, I've been in ruts, I've made some major changes in my own personal journey as we've gone. You know, I think that people are always looking for opportunities and options. In life, I really feel is like a journey. It's not a destination. So you might think your destination is to get into hygiene and then you get your destination job, but it's a journey. And sometimes the flavors change and, you know, you need to sort of modify and see what fits with your life. So I have a question for you. What advice could you give us as dental professionals if we want to do more, if we're stuck in that rut? What have you done or how have you helped some of the dental hygienists to get out of that? What do you suggest?
Right. Well, RDHU is a great place to start because it's a community. It's dental hygienists. What better could you get than to get involved? So, you know, follow on the social media, get involved. COVID has taught us all that we can learn online, right? We didn't think we could before, but now hopping on a Zoom meeting, Teams meeting, is a wonderful thing. So first and foremost, during this time, get involved on chat groups on social media. Then go the next step and try and connect with those people. Send them friend requests, get on LinkedIn, talk to people, get on Facebook, follow, you know, amazing dental hygienists out there. Everybody needs somebody. And that's how mentorship starts, to learn from each other. So that's first and foremost, use social media. I think it's important once the world is well again to go to in-person meetings. You know, go to a course, go to a conference. I know a lot of them are still, you know, we might be into next year, but that's a great way to network. I don't know when you guys graduated, but weren't you excited to go to the conventions? And I used to think, woohoo, I want to go on the exhibitors floor. And I came out with a bag full of stuff. Now I don't want to carry the stuff. I want to go and meet people. So bring your resume if you're going to a conference once we're able to go. I think PDC is actually going to happen this year at Pacific Dental Conference. So go and meet people, make a business card with your information, talk about the skills, know the skills that you bring forth and you know what you want out of it. Those are great places to start. There's lots of study groups and master classes. And so get involved. And then like you ladies on this call today, become an expert in something, right? Know what you're best at. And if you don't know, start watching where you perk up and what you think is great. You know, Kath, you're known as the instrument expert for sharpening, you know, portfolio, quality manager. You know, you guys have your own skill set. And sometimes dental hygienists ask, like, what do I do? Where do I go? Well, I can't tell people get into sales. I can't tell everyone getting a bachelor's degree is going to enhance your career or going for the master's because I don't know the direction they want. But I think lifelong learning is a wonderful thing. I also think that digital technology, digital scanning is the way of the future. So depending how engaged you want to be, Anna Louise, your perio courses at RDHU, you know, instrumentation, like become an expert and find your niche and master it, right? It's so important to be able to do that. I often get asked as well, you know, I'm stuck in a rut. I don't want to leave because I know my patients so well. So maybe it's time to start, and they're capped at their hourly rate and people get upset because I hear the fee guide goes up most years. Something's going up in the fee guide. So build an incentive program from within your practice for your team that makes business sense, that makes sense for you. It's all about ethical billing and treating the patient properly, but plant the seed, get your team engaged. You know, do you have dental hygiene meetings? I don't know what you guys see, but they don't, you know, people don't communicate very much anymore in the practice. Do you guys hear that as well?
All the time. And I feel like if you're caught in a rut, you've got to find something that excites you, because it's really hard. Everybody has a journey or has a chapter, has a story. Okay. And some chapters are better or more juicy than others, but we have to find something that excites us when we go in, and trying to look at the dental office as a glass that's half full versus always that's half empty will help you get out of that rut, or maybe give you opportunities that you wouldn't have looked at before. And I think if you find your passion, you will be surprised where you end up. I think if you asked any of us if we thought this is where we'd be, we'd all laugh and be like, absolutely not. Like, I was the girl in the classroom that didn't talk and didn't say anything and don't ever ask me a question. And now, you know, this is what we do, because we were put in some of those uncomfortable decisions, and we took the Y in the road that looked more challenging, and maybe we make it look easier. And I have to say, I do feel better knowing, I'm sorry that you had to throw up, but I would have probably thrown up 3 times before I even got in the car to go pick up Joanne. I'm just saying, okay? So you've made me feel much better on some of the responses I've had. As I cry in the car, I generally cry before I do things. I cry before this, and then all of a sudden it's not flushing or makeup, it's just because I was crying. But there, I let out my secret. Okay?
It's true. And I often ask dental hygienists across Canada, you know, why do your patients want to see you?
Yeah.
And it really surprises me how they don't have an answer, right? And I'm like, you're so much more than pick and flick. Like, you're an oral health care provider. Why do they want to see you? Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just kind of go through the motions every day, so they're not really thinking about it. So just listening to you right now, maybe somebody can step away and think, what are the things that I like to do? What are the things that I'm interested in? How can I specialize in that? How can I be known to be that person, you know? And then you make a plan and you take the next step, and then you become that specialist. You become that resource for your patients, for your office, that you're the person that they're going to go to for that one particular thing. So that was really great that you said that, Jen.
Thanks. And I feel sorry for my dental hygiene friends who are in a rut, and, you know, they feel stuck, and they might be thinking, oh, it's easy to say, but, you know, what's your passion? Is it oral hygiene education? Are you great at perio patients? Or is it you're the best at oral cancer screening? Or, you know, you get to be a lead hygienist and have that ability to train the team, right? So many times I'll ask about, you know, when a temp dental hygienist comes in, why do they get the worst instruments, right?
Yeah.
Like, why?
It used to bug me. People used to put, like, they would be getting new instruments and they'd keep their old ones and say, oh, we're going to keep these for the 10th.
I know, like, it's so mean,
But you know,
right?
You know what, Jen, I feel like a lot of people feel like they don't have a voice in their practice. It's like, oh, I can't make change happen. No one will listen to me. I'll suggest something and nothing happens. So, I mean, if you have, like, I have a whole thing on how to make change happen, but if you're not successful and you can't move in a practice, maybe it's time that you look for a practice that suits you, that you can work with, that you can grow in, right?
Yeah.
So if you're feeling stuck and, you know, that you can't really implement the things that you want, or the things that you're suggesting and have a plan, then perhaps it's time to move on, you know?
I totally agree, Kath, but what I would say to anyone who feels like they're in that position today is really be honest with yourself. Make your list, pros and cons, things you like, things that bug you, you know? And then I often ask dental hygienists, because I hear a lot every week, what kind of communication have you had with the office manager or the dentist or regional manager? Where are you at? And not a 5-second conversation in the Steri Center where you just happen to pass each other. You know, did you invite the office manager, dentist for lunch, for a meeting? Step outside of the office and be prepared for that meeting. You know, be prepared. My top 3 things that I'm great at are this, and this. always have a goal on something that you're going to work towards, right? Because we have to be true to ourselves and be honest. We're not great at everything, but work towards your strengths. And how would you get there to become happy again? You know, we've seen a lot of negative Nellies inside practices, and that negativity fosters more negativity, and it's not healthy. We're already living in a COVID world, and mental health has been an issue for many, many friends across the country. So set yourself up and really look at that. And then if it's not the place for you, my goodness, dental hygienists are in demand, aren't they, across the country?
Yes.
Well,
So-
and now is the time exactly. If you're not happy, where you are, why not try something else? Because if you're not happy, you don't know whether you're going to be happy or not happy in another situation. And there's tons of jobs. Like you can switch and go into specialty programs. If you love children, well, you know what? Maybe try a pediatric office, try an ortho office, try a perio office. You know, there's lots of different scopes. Apply and work for the government. Like there's lots of different opportunities that are not just the typical job. You just have to be willing to just believe in yourself and try to take that first step. And, you know, people like us are here to help you. So we will be your coaches. We will be your motivators to try to say, yeah, just try it. We've all been there. We have different stories, and you're right. They don't always work out perfect, but I like to say, like I've said already, it's a journey, not a destination. And along the journey, you take some side roads and you're like, oh, this one's bumpier than the other one, but let's get there. That's the whole goal.
And a great question that I get asked many times is through email, and I'm happy to answer anybody through Facebook, LinkedIn. Jen, I'm a dental hygienist. I have 25 years of clinical experience. What can I do? And I'm saying, I'll say, like, congratulations, 25 years. I mean, that's amazing, right? To be in clinical practice. Think of the lives that dental hygienist has touched. But to move outside of the box in that clinical world, sometimes you need more. So sometimes it is a degree for a sales position, especially dental hygiene educators. Lots of times for public health. I'm not saying the degree is everything, but it might be a stepping stone to get you to where you go. But I truly believe, and I think you ladies will agree with me, that networking, making connections, being out there, get out and be involved in the dental hygiene world can really help. And, you know, we all have great connections here on the RDH View with industry partners, schools, public health, companies, DSO, you know, we can help, but it starts with you, right? Yeah. So you have to find your strengths and your weakness. And that's hard sometimes, right? But we can help for sure.
Absolutely.
I also have a friend who has, she helps people do resumes, and
Nice.
she really works through this whole process where, you know, she'll have you really think outside of the box and have you really focus on the potential. And so what I'll do is I'll send a follow-up if anyone wanted to reach out to her, because she can help you with your resume, with your letter, all that stuff. And as you were just talking, I was just thinking about her, and she'd be a perfect person that we could refer out to, you know, to help them.
That's great, Kath, because, you know, I get lots of resumes and I see spelling mistakes. And it's like, this is your first shot, you guys, whatever position you're going for, to make you stand out. So always ask a friend, a loved one, to reread your resume. It might make sense to you, but when we look at a document for so long, sometimes we don't see things. And secondly, when you're going for an interview, you only have one shot to make a first impression. So as much as we love our Lululemon pants, that's not the time for the interview, right? It's not. You have to look like you want this job. Yeah. You're professional and you're ready. That's one of my biggest tips.
And smile. Yes. And be kind and be happy.
Yeah. We know it's scary. We know people have nerves. It's okay. We're all human beings, but set yourself up for success.
I have found too, from redoing your resume or your, you know, all of those things, your portfolio, when you look at the achievements, when you look at some of the credentials you have, it boosts your confidence. You're like, oh, I would hire me. Look at all these cool things I can do. And putting in all the details of the different software that you've used and, you know, your knowledge or your expertise or the courses you've attended, some of your highlighted spots. These are great ways to also build your own self-confidence. So it is worth kind of keeping it up to date and kind of keeping a roll of it. But that also may help you in the future. But you're absolutely right. Reach out to someone, have someone read it, look over it, give you some advice. because it is your opportunity. It is your way into a new career or a new option.
Totally agree. And I think you guys
Yeah.
that, I think there's 28,000 dental hygienists in Canada, give or take. So don't quote me on that, but about 28,000 dental hygienists. So, what sets you apart? That should be in your very opening part of a cover letter or part of your resume. What makes you stand out, right? Do you do iTero scanning? Have you mastered it? Have you, get a metric or a number at what you're great at to show where you were to where you are so that you stand out. You don't want to be a resume that is like the same as everyone else. You're different and you're great at things. So don't be afraid to boast at what you've proven and you're good at, because people will believe in you.
Yeah, it's that perceived value that becomes a very important asset. And if you're projecting, the different levels of expertise that are available for that DSO or dentist to hire or partner with a fellow hygienist to become part of a practice, all of your attributes are extremely important to create that client-centered, focused practice that is going to bring people in and keep people coming and allow you to feel more fulfilled. So on that note, Jen, tell us what is the most common concern you hear from our colleagues, from not enough time to, doing treatment planning, the 2020, all those types of things, rather than just scaling. And, what do you hear is a focus of concern?
Okay, this is awesome because, two things. Lack of communication, I hear every week. So how do we change that? If we continue to do what we've always done, guess what? We're going to always get what we've always got, right? I sound a little cliche, but it's so true. So if you're in a current practice, independent or part of a private practice or a DSO, if there are no meetings scheduled for you guys to communicate as an office, not a session where you know what's happening, where it's crabbing, have an agenda, be focused, get your communication in check. Right? It can't just be hallway conversations. So communication I hear often. Full team meetings, maybe the dental hygiene meeting, could be quarterly, could be bi-monthly, but set yourself up for success, have an agenda, have measurable outcomes. What do you want to achieve from the meeting so that you're accountable and you know exactly where you're going? But more than that, you guys, what do you think the number one thing is that dental hygienists are saying across our great country?
You don't have time. There's not enough time.
Bingo, you win, Carrie. It is. It is. I don't have time. And I hear this every day from friends inside DSO, outside DSO, everywhere I go. So I can speak to Ontario College of Dental Hygienists. In your standards of practice, it says that you're responsible for patient-client care. So many of my dental hygiene friends have a 1-hour dental hygiene appointment, pretty standard. But why do we as dental hygienists and you guys as clinical dental hygienists feel that we have to finish within that hour? You put so much pressure on yourselves, and you might be rolling your eyes going, okay, great, Jen, that's easy for you to say. But my response every week is you drive the bus. If you know that patient hasn't been in, let's just say 2 years of COVID, this is where the 20-20-20 rule comes into play. So the first 20 minutes of your appointment is assessments, relationship building, medical history, your perio assessment. That is a crucial piece of setting your patient up for success. I hear so many times over the last, I don't know how many years, I don't have time to probe. But did you guys know that it's more than probing? It's probing, bleeding on probing. Mobility, furcation, clinical attachment level, exudate, measurable outcomes to share with your patient. You have disease, you have infection, you are bleeding, and not a little bleeding, just a cleaning. Use professional words, right? So the next 20 is your scaling portion. But I know some friends out there, scale for 55 minutes, can't hit the washroom, are behind, need to clean the room, and they write their notes at the end of the day. And I think to myself, day after day after day, it's got to be awfully hard. So something has to change. The last 20 minutes of that hour appointment should be the exam. If the patient, where allowed, is polishing or fluoride. So we drive the bus. So if you're billing ethically, billing for all services provided, and using your time wisely, we don't have to finish in a 1 hour appointment, right? We drive the bus. Mrs. Jones, today I see a change. Can I show you? Was I rude? Was I mean? No. Within that first 10 minutes of the appointment, when I say, Mrs. Jones, I see a change today. Can I show you? I bring her in. I use a scan. I use intraoral camera. I take pictures. I let her visually see what's going on. I use words like infection, bleeding, disease, and we help to move that on. I know you ladies have amazing courses on the AAP guidelines and process of care. Up your level of knowledge and take these courses. Since the AAP guidelines came out, they started in 2017. They're still lagging here in Canada. But if you have if you're a diabetic patient, if you're a smoker, you know, do the staging and grading. Most patients should not be on 6-month intervals when you have these indicators to share. So if you need education, well, my goodness, we're in the right place. We're on the RDH view from RDHU. So the resources are there. And I know that all of the ladies on this call are willing to take questions and answer and help, myself included. So it concerns me when everyone's trying to finish in 60 minutes. And the next question comes that I hear all the time following that is, but my patients are going to be upset with me, right? We're nurturers. Most of us are we're in healthcare for a reason. So do you want to be liked, or do you want to act as a healthcare professional and share what's going on in the mouth? So I'm going to open it up to you ladies to comment on my thoughts, because they are my thoughts.
Well, I
think
totally agree.
Yeah. And can you imagine, I mean, it's very empowering hearing someone in your position say that as well. Because I do think that's immediately where my mind went, is I know my patients are going to be upset if I don't finish within the hour. But can you imagine if we all felt empowered enough to say, no, you know, I don't need a new BFF. I don't need my, you know, my patient client to think I'm, you know, the bee's knees. I just need to, I want to help them, you know, with optimal oral health outcomes. That's what my goal is. That's what my mission is. So I just think, can you imagine if we all really did hear what you're saying, implement it, and kind of take that power back? I don't know, it could really change everything. But there is that thought, right?
I love to talk to my patients, my clients, and always say to them, listen, it's your disease. And I am the quarterback, and I'm trying to help call the plays. But if you don't follow it through with the plays I suggest, then I don't know what I can do for you. Like, we have to be on the same team. Like, this is my goal. This is not my goal, but this is our goal. We've come up with it. And you hit the nail on the head. We have to have the right assessment. If you have that assessment data, you can use it. That's powerful for education and for the client to truly understand what they're saying yes or no to. And I think that you will agree, and all of us in all of our communication with the dental field, that's one area that's really skipped over. So I'm really glad that you gave it a full 20 minutes. Sometimes it might not be that. Sometimes it takes me 25. And I say to patients, listen, you haven't been here in a year and a half because of COVID. We've had to update your x-rays. We've had to update your periodontal charting. We've had to update your full medical history. So we're going to have you back, because I want to do what's right for you. And I am concerned. I see a change. Mm-hmm. And if you're upfront at the beginning, that's the key. You've got to talk about it at the beginning, because if you say it at the end, it's like we didn't finish the job. But if we know that we might not complete it because of the situation, and we give them that forewarning, it's not that we lack the skills, they present it that way. And I really think that that is so powerful in how you have worded it, Jen, honestly.
Thank you. I also think I absolutely know that dental hygienists need to properly document, what they see, because I've seen dental hygienists get themselves in trouble because the record keeping didn't tell the story of what happened that day. So, Anna Louise, I took your record keeping course last year and it was awesome. And using templates and getting your office on one system. If all 5 of us work together in a practice, we all have different ways of record keeping. Systematize what you do and use templates and, stay together. But it's similar to if we went to a cardiologist, we're there for their healthcare advice. So if he or she said to me as a cardiologist, Jen, you need this. And I said, well, will my insurance cover it? Right? What message are we sending? We're dental hygienists and we're so concerned, and we've done this to ourselves in dentistry and dental hygiene. It's only if your insurance covers it. And I often hear admin team members say, oh, Mrs. Jones, your insurance only covers 50%. Versus the same word saying, good news, Mrs. Jones, your insurance benefits cover 50%. Right? It's how we approach some of these ideas. And please know that I understand a lot of the population lives paycheck to paycheck. So I fully get that. But who are we to judge whether they can afford something or make a decision for them, or not always offer option A and option B? And we've given informed consent so they can, make a good judgment call for what's best for them, because we don't ask to see their bank balance on the way in, right? We want to make sure we're doing it right.
Patients have to value what we do. And if we downplay what we do, if we don't educate them on all the things that we are looking at or evaluating, then they don't see the value in that. People will find, $5 to go to Starbucks or $3 to go to Tim Hortons every day, but it's a matter of giving them the option. And I've had many patients say to me, listen, I can't afford that right now. Do what you can today, and I'm going to save up. And some of these patients have been on ODSP and they've paid for the full services of things. They just had to understand what was in it for them. And that way, then exactly, we're on the same team playing the same game. And the end game is the result. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's these incremental changes we will make in our practice and with our patients and changing a bit of our relationship. And you will find that they just cannot wait to come back and see you. You will build those strong relationships with your patients. You will build that loyalty in a professional setting by being the professional you can be and you've been trained to do. So anyway, that's my rant, my soapbox.
I agree. And has anybody here ever gone for a pedicure and said, can you please paint 10 toes, but I'm only going to pay for 5? Right? None of us. So why do we feel that in dental hygiene? We feel bad for our patients. And one great question that I, help the teams across Canada ask is to patients, do you have a proactive approach to care or a reactive approach? Because that says an awful lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, certainly does.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Jen and Carrie, about talking with your clients about what their expectations are. And not only that, but never assume just because someone has tried before you, you present your words in a different way. And who's to say that this time they're going to actually hear what you're saying? We don't know, what happened or how receptive they were, pre-COVID and post-COVID. We are looking at people who are certainly more aware of the inflammatory load, that they understand they haven't been here for 2 years. Their expectation is that they're going to have a lot of work that needs to be done to catch them up. So let's not stop short and make it easy for them. Let's do catch them up and educate them to the level in which they're now more aware, and use those words that they've now come to understand a lot more, that are more in our regular vocabulary, about making sure your inflammatory load is lower and being concerned about inflammation and bleeding and all those other things that maybe they were kind of like had that their hearing turned down before, and now they're very receptive. So I'm totally I get excited kind of right now when they return, and I'm like, congratulations, you finally came back, and I'm happy to see you. Or, it's the first time that you've met, because I find a lot of people are doing a little bit of shopping. If they weren't quite ecstatic with where they were going, they're now starting in a new, fresh place. And And you have to treat everybody with fresh eyes so that they can see where they want to go, because I think their whole body health awareness has been heightened, and we need to use that.
Right. And I think and I'm going to make this sound funny, but it's really not funny. Okay. But I go into practices all over the country, and I have for years. And I'm like, do you guys have intraoral cameras? Yeah, we do. Okay, so where is it? I don't know, right? Or it's dusty. Like, use what you have. Why do people want to see you? Because you're so awesome and you want to engage your patients or clients, and, you know, use technology. That's 2021. This is the way that we're going to learn. If we talk about, you know, you need to floss, which yes, we know we need to, but like, engage them. I can't say enough how this digital scanners, how any resource you can to bring them alive rather than us, blah, 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 you know, talking what we need to. It's important, but make it come alive and watch the difference in your patients.
And I think if you take that avenue, honestly, if you start using these tools and you can show passion and excitement, when it comes to performance review time, that's always how do I approach it? How do I discuss it? Well, these are ways that you can say, okay, in your mind, okay, in 3 months, I want to talk to my boss. So I'm going to go back to work. These ladies have motivated me again. I'm going to try to see it as a half full cup, not a half empty. I'm going to pull out that camera. I'm going to use it on 2 people a day. We're not talking every person. Just have a simple goal, even 1 person a day, 1 scan a day, 1 intraoral camera a day, and keep note of those, because those are things to bring forward with a performance review. So Jen, I'm sure you've sat through lots of these. What are some tips you can give us for the performance review in preparation, in communication? What would you give us? How can we help?
Good question.
This is awesome, because dental hygienists will say, Jen, I'm maxed out. I'm capped at X amount of dollars and I'm angry. And they'll say, I'm having a performance evaluation. And I'll ask them, how are you going to set yourself up for success? And they're like, I don't know. I got invited on Friday at noon, and so I'm going. So I want to help our dental hygiene friends across the country. You're healthcare providers, and you need to set the stage for what you do. So I have 3 key areas that I think are super important to set yourself up for success. So number 1 is know your production. It's healthcare first, followed by a business. But I've done many different scorecards, and I'm a dental hygienist first, but I'm also a businesswoman. If you don't know what you're producing every day, or I do this in all the practices, I look and see we have 4 dental hygienists, and I'm just making these numbers up, okay? Somebody's at $200 an hour, somebody's at $150, somebody's at $220, somebody's at $160. What's going on inside this practice? I fully get it's patient-specific or client-specific care. We're not robots. We're not doing the same. Billing is different for each patient. I fully get that. But let's think about a husband and wife come into the practice, and somebody gets $150 and somebody gets $220 for that hour. How does that happen? What's going on? There's going to be a variance. I get that. But you really should look at what's happening in your own practice. And so many times we work in silos, and I did too in clinical practice. I was concerned as a new grad, my column in the computer. Did I have a patient before lunch that needed an exam? So I would run over. What do you do to figure out what's happening in your own practice? So know your production, know your daily production, know your monthly or year over year. Are you growing? The fee guide goes up. I'm not asking anybody to bill for any services that they don't provide, but another area for growth where it's patient specific. Adult fluoride. We don't talk about it because insurance doesn't cover it. Here's that proactive, reactive approach, right? Can you have conversations? I think, Carrie, you said it. We now know evidence-based research has shown, use the words that make sense for that. So know your production and know what you bring to the table and your level of service. Are you a pick and flick hygienist, or do you do periodontal therapy, right? There's a big difference. Secondly, many offices, we all know this, but sometimes we don't do it. So I'm going to call it a pre-appointment rate or rebooking rate of your patient. So I get it, guys, you get busy, you don't have time and you're up, but could the admin team help you? when we have patients in, it takes the admin team so long and so hard to book that patient back. If the ladies on my dental office are watching, I'm so sorry, but sometimes you call me and I don't pick up, right? I'm human too. So like sometimes that happens. So when we're in the office, it's great to book that next appointment right there before we leave. So know your rate. Most practices go for an 80% pre-appointment rate. So do you know where you're at? That's a metric that you can track. And I get it, not everybody's going to book, but if you're trying and you get the language down, work together as a team on it, you'll get your goal of 80% and beyond when you really try. And your admin team members are so going to thank you because they're busy and they have lots to do. And lastly, I think it's really, really important as a dental hygienist to know your Google reviews. Go on your practice site and read what people say. Sometimes people have different methods like Recall Max, Solution Reach, different things. Get in there and read those surveys. If you don't know what's going on and what people are saying about you, how can you change? And I always start in offices with things that are working well and celebrate wins. But the best way we can learn, and sometimes it's hard, is to know maybe what's not working so well. And it's coming from a place of learning, right? So it's tough to hear constructive criticism, but don't we want to be better than we were the day before? So in a recap there, to set yourself up for success, know your production. Don't keep booking 60-minute appointments and letting patients out at 40 minutes, because we all know we can do value building things that might not be fee for service, but get that iTero scan, get your intraoral camera out. I can't believe how many are not doing oral cancer screening. If you don't know how to do it, go on and look for additional courses. Layer your learning, know what you bring to the table and the level and quality of service that you provide. Right away, when I open up an instrument kit at a practice and I see that Gracie looks like a sickle, I'm like, uh-oh, right? Because then I know the patient experience is not very good. And I've said this for years. Sorry if you're a vegan, but if I put a piece of steak in front of you and I gave you a steak knife to eat it, it's sharp, it's easy, you're going to enjoy your dinner. But if I put that same piece of steak in front of you and I give you a butter knife, that hurts. You're not going to enjoy your meal, but let's think about it as gums now. It might take you 5 strokes with sharp instruments to get the calculus off, but with that butter knife kind of instrument, it could take 15. And you see that patient grip the chair and they might not come back for an appointment. Sometimes we don't know that we're hurting people, but what you do know is if you have sharp instruments with integrity. And there's some great courses at RDHU for that. I've seen that and I see the following and people are raving about it. Don't be embarrassed if you're not a good sharpener, but be embarrassed if you're not doing anything to help yourself with instrumentation, right? That's from me as a friend to you. I often too think in setting yourself up for success, this is business Jen talking. You really should at the beginning of a year decide what instruments do you need that year. And I'm going to talk business in quarters. So there's 4 quarters to the year. January, February, March is Q1, then carry on. So at some point, you're going to need ultrasonic tips, or you're going to need piezo tips. You are going to need some new scalers. You might be moving into cassettes. Here's a great news flash for all our friends. Sharpening stones don't last forever. And I've seen some that, how can you get your instruments sharp? So these kinds of things are great for a performance evaluation, because we shouldn't feel guilty as dental hygienists to ask for the tools that we need to do an awesome job, right? It's a skill set that we need. And then read your Google reviews and be honest with yourself. So those are my tips on performance evaluation. If you're winging it for a performance evaluation, you're probably not going to get out of it what you were hoping for. But if you set yourself up for success with some of these tips, I'm so excited for you because I know it works, right? And I'm happy to have conversations with anybody that wants to set yourself up for success. So I don't know your thoughts on that, ladies.
Awesome, all of it.
Yes. What a great
Yeah.
way to prepare. Just follow Jen's list and be ready. And remember, you're valuable, right? You are the legs that dentistry stands on, because we are the educators and the prevention specialists. And we're often the most the most common and the most regular healthcare provider that your client sees.
Yes.
Don't devalue yourself. You're so important. But when we don't set ourselves up for success, and it's okay, I didn't know how to set myself up for success either. I thought, you know, by staying on time and I wore my favorite blue uniform, that I might get a raise, right? But meanwhile, it's so much more than that. Those are important things, but you know, there's so much more than that, right?
And
You're a
I think-
healthcare provider.
And I think
Yeah.
if we want to raise, if we're not happy, instead of just ranting, and we're allowed to talk and rant on social media, I'm not downplaying that. We just need somewhere to vent sometimes. And I get that. But also you should be prepared and take it to your business owner, take it to your practice owner, and have that conversation with them. Because if you don't ask, you won't get it. They generally aren't just going to say, oh, it's the new year. Here, Carrie, here's a raise for you. They're generally going to want to have this conversation. And so speak up, know your worth, and, you know, look at these options. But you've provided so many nuggets of information. I feel like every show we have, we inspire people, but you inspire me to do things and look at things differently from just, you know, talking with you again today. So Jen, I'm
Thank
so
you.
thankful.
And
Yeah,
one thing I do hear, sorry, Beth, one sec, is, you know, Jen, I've worked in this practice for 20 years, so I should get a raise. There's a sense of entitlement. And yes, longevity can be a wonderful thing. It can sometimes not be a wonderful thing. But just because you've been there for so many years doesn't automatically mean that you're going to get a raise. So that's why these key areas that I focused on setting yourself up for success is measurable outcomes. Just like we do a perio assessment with measurable outcomes, you as a dental hygienist, a businesswoman or man, you're in healthcare, but you are part of a business, and no business starts to lose money. So if you're scheduling 60 minutes and letting your patients out early, that's a concern, for one, for the patient, and two, for the business, right? So I know you guys can do it, and it really just takes a few key points to set yourself up, and not doing it on the run or 5 minutes in between a patient, having this kind of conversation. You're important and you're valuable. Dental hygienists in a private practice, DSO private practice, bring 30% of the overall revenue of the practice. We also, as dental hygienists, bring 70% of the dentist schedule. Like, holy moly, that's huge, right? So that's a big deal. So you want to set yourself up for success.
Yeah. I was
really
just
like
going to
the
thank
fact-
you.
Sorry.
I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to thank you for touching on the business side of things, because I mean, let's be honest, for most of us here, we aren't business owners. We do have a lot of business owners with us as well, but most of us aren't. So we're going to appeal to a business owner when it comes to asking for a raise or asking for these things.
Is everybody
So
going to ask me for a raise after today? Goodbye, Jen.
Yeah, Jen's got a bad connection, sorry.
You know, like you're giving us the tools, because we are appealing to a business owner when we're going for these reviews and things like that. So I really appreciate that insight, and how to kind of talk about why we feel we deserve this increase, rather than it just being a sense of entitlement.
Right.
I really like the idea, be prepared and write it down and leave, like have 2 copies and leave 1 copy with the manager or the owner, whoever you're having that meeting with, and then you keep a copy. So it gives them something to have for after. So they're not leaving going, what did she or he say? You know?
I do see a question in the question box. I'm not trying to do your job, Beth, but one of my friends, Octavio, asked a question. What do you do if your dental hygienist does not produce 30%, even after you train them and coach them up? And this is an awesome question, because we are keeners. You guys that are here on this RDH view today are probably keen because you're here, and that's exciting. But sometimes you can try and coach and train someone, and they don't want to buy into it, right? And we want everybody to be better than they were. And there's people that are stuck in ruts, that are people that are in this profession that might not want to be anymore. And that's okay. But then that's when it's time to say, dental hygiene's not for you. What I have seen through the years is clear accountability. If someone is underperforming as a dental hygienist, don't talk about it to everybody else. Have a conversation with the dental hygienist. If the dental hygienist is having concerns, then let schedule time apart and be professional and don't repeat it to everyone else in the office. But the goal is 30%. And I just want to be crystal clear, you guys. Ethical billing, when you do the right thing for your patient, the money follows. So that's why I think it's important to know your production, know your numbers, know where you fall in there. It's not a secret in a business, or it shouldn't be a secret. But also your job as a dental hygienist to do the treatment that your patient needs, and it's followed by a business. So a lot of times we don't talk about money because things are in check. Where I see sometimes it isn't is lack of communication, meetings, accountability, or saying, Jen, you know, the average in our office, and I'm going to make this up for easy math because $200 and you're at $150 per hour. Can you share with me what's going on? And have that conversation and document it. Coach, mentor. And if it's not the right person, I know unfortunately there's a shortage for dental hygienists these days, and practices are concerned about losing, but you'd rather have the right fit in the practice than the wrong person, right? So I feel like, wow, that was like Debbie Downer, but I don't mean it that way. I'm proud of all of our dental hygienists out there, and I just want to make sure that everybody is happy, healthy, and setting themselves up for success, right? Because that's what it's all about.
A question came in about ortho hygiene, because obviously we don't work on production. Any suggestions for that?
That's a great question. I do not do a lot with ortho production. Yes, we do have some ortho, and we have Invisalign project that's mine. But the question, we don't produce as its inclusive fee. So I don't know if you could track the number of patients that you're seeing day over day. I would have to dig a little bit deeper into this to give a proper response. So I'm sorry, Amy, I don't know the full answer to that. I don't know if anyone else has worked in ortho that could comment.
I think I work in ortho just 1 day a week, and I have not been in ortho that long. So my experience does not go 20 years back, but I do think when you're approaching ortho, it's your bonding rate. So how often are things coming off are good things to bring to your production? How quickly and efficiently on average are you able to do a full bond, a full debond, a general wire change? In ortho, you think it's going to go straight forward and someone comes in with 3 brackets, but on average, how quickly and efficiently are you able to do that? And I think those are things to bring forth to your production, especially in these sorts of situations, because we can't go on those sorts of numbers. But also in the same respect, maybe bringing up things like referrals and making sure that you're always asking for those clients to recommend that their friends come or their parents come. And that's how in ortho particularly, we really help the business grow.
That's awesome.
I think that's good too, Carrie. I know we talked about the speed of bonding. Like when I started in ortho, I was so slow, like so slow. So there was no way that I should have been being paid what the person who was superior to me was. And, you know, she was just so efficient. So I think that that's a really good advice. And then, but then owning it as you are improving, as you are, you know, getting faster, maybe tracking that a little bit, as you suggested, Jen, because then you could present those metrics, right? Or compare to where you were. And this is where I am now.
Right. And like, I'm not sure about you ladies but like in the beginning of my dental hygiene career in clinical practice, no one ever talked to me about what I produced. I didn't know if I was in the middle of the pack, the end of the pack. I never read, well, we didn't have Google, sorry, but you know, like Google reviews and things like, so now we're armed with so much more to have really good conversations with the office managers and dentists, and you know, really look at yourself to make sure that you're a team player. Don't try and point the finger at everyone else. Look inward first and then figure out, okay, what's my plan for success? Because I believe in you and I absolutely know that everybody can do it, and happy to have any kind of conversations that anyone would like to have.
So Jen, how do we reach out? If they have questions, what's the best way to reach out to you? Can you put your email maybe in the chat function? Is that okay?
Of course. I am happy to speak with anybody who wants a tip, trick, looking for a job, you want to relocate, whatever I can do for you, friends in the industry, I am always here for you. So my email is in the chat group. It's jturner@123dentist. Oops, I put 2 M's on there. jturner@123dentist.com. I'm just going to type it in. I made a mistake. 123dentist.com. And yeah, please let me know that we got to see each other. You got to see me and these ladies through the RDH view, because it's an amazing opportunity to be on this show today.
I know we're coming up to the end of the show. There are a few questions, but I would like to just if some people want to sign off. I know we have some exciting things coming up with RDHU over the next few months. And Louise, what courses do you have coming up with us?
Well, actually, we're starting tomorrow, where we're doing instrumenting confidently online, virtually, and then the hands-on is next Saturday. Next Thursday, I have a piezo course going on, and that's for the lecture in the evening. And then on next Saturday as well, we're doing hands-on at RDHU. So that's going to be an exciting week this week until next weekend, and we'll get everyone doing some virtual plus hands-on. So thanks, Karen.
That's awesome.
I love that you're doing confidently instrumenting and piezo, the hands-on on the same day. So if somebody wants to take piezo and instrumentation, they can do that online, the theory, and then come in for the day. That's awesome. Thank you.
And I know Beth and I this week, that's okay. Beth and I this weekend have our QA test prep course. So we've created a new course. So if anyone's taking the QA test and they would like to be a bit more confident going through with that, definitely you can join us. And Beth and I also have our process of care. So a lot of what Jen was talking about, we have that course coming up next month. Beth and Kath, what else do you guys have on the schedule in the next little while?
Beth and I have starting, Wednesday, the 22nd of September. We're starting the 29th. Hang on one sec. We're doing the quality assurance. Yeah.
I think you're right there.
Starts on the 29th at 7 p.m. Quality assurance workshop. So I'm doing learning portfolio for 2 nights. And then Beth's doing practice profile for 2 nights. Yeah, so we're excited about that because we're heading into the last quarter, starting in a couple of weeks, and then we'll start the our QA coach campaign. Keep calm. It's the final countdown, and that's because it is.
For those of you that have joined us through your lunch, the show we'll say is officially over. There are 1 or 2 questions, Jen, if we can hold on to you for maybe just a few more minutes. But if you do have to go, the show is officially. You have to go, Kathleen. Let's go. Thank you very much, Kathleen.
Yeah. Okay,
Well,
thanks so much. That was
Thank
awesome, Jen. It was good
You're
to see you.
awesome. Thank you.
Love you all. Bye.
Jen, the one question I was wondering if you can give any tips or tricks on is no-shows and last-minute cancellations, because I'm sure you deal with that a lot in the practices you help. And I was just wondering, I thought that was a really important segue. If you don't mind, maybe this is our finishing question and thought.
Sure. So I think it truly, from a clinical dental hygienist, I think it is important to track your no-shows and cancellations, because sometimes we get penalized for it as a dental hygienist, but our head is down and we're taking care of patient care. So it's a team effort. I see a lot of dental hygienists have a book or a paper that they keep behind the door and they write down, Mrs. Smith needs to come in, and I'm making this up, so I'm not breaching anything. Mrs. Smith needs second appointment for left side, 1 hour. So keep your own list of people who might be able to come on short notice, but the office managers or practice managers should also have a system in place to know, Mrs. Smith is in on Friday, so she's usually off on Friday. So we can either text her or call her should a cancellation come up. I think having those systems in place, because we know when you're working in clinical practice day after day, you start to forget who needed to come in fast when they say, hey, do you know any patients that can come?
Yeah.
So have a system, write it down. And I think it's important to track the hours that were not production hours. It's
Yeah.
not always our fault as a dental hygienist. We also know with COVID, patients are canceling a lot easier because they can get out of that appointment as soon as they say, I have a cough or a fever. Of course, we don't want them to come in. So tracking is really important. Just like our clinical notes, it tells the story of what's happening in that practice, that day, that week, or that month. And then I often think if there are so many no-shows and cancellations, I then go to the admin team to find out, how have they been trained on the calls? How is confirmation happening? What's that process or system with the office manager to make sure that it's effective? Because I don't know if you guys have ever listened to any calls in a dental practice, but they're not all good, right? We want to set our teams up for success. So training is an instrumental point. From a dental hygienist, track everything.
That's amazing knowledge. Well, I think with that, I want to say from behalf of RDH View, thank you so much for making the time to join us. And thank you to everybody that has joined us. Again, this will be on our Facebook group page as well as on our website. So please feel free to share the information and knowledge with everyone. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Stay safe. And our next show will be coming up in October and we're talking all things charting. So electronic charting, things like that, great ways to help and build your practice. So definitely tune in with us in October. Thank you, everybody. Thank you all hygienists who have joined us and doctors and admin people. Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
so much, Jen.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yes, thank you.